opportunity ball receivers. Duvernay's not that guy giving him that chance. Huge turnover for Tennessee.
Titans kick a field goal, and then this is inexplicable. Down 21-16. Rex, how does A.J. Brown score on this play?
Not against the Ravens, you don't. By the way, Queen, you're a linebacker, man. That can't happen. Come on.
Look at the
knock him back.
The power and the desire from A.J., but that's just an embarrassing moment there for usually the bullies on the block, which is Baltimore. Titans, a two-point conversion, puts them up 24-21. Under 2 minutes to go, Lamar Jackson scrambling, gets them in field goal range. They would set up for Justin Tucker. Was there ever any question he makes this kick?
No, absolutely no question, Greeny.
Big trust. Justin Tucker, 29 yards, and it's good. We're going to overtime. Ravens win the toss. They're going to receive first. But, Dan, they would go nowhere fast. Lamar Jackson, nothing to do in the pocket.
Yeah, there's no rhythm to this passing game. That sack comes through. Lamar's got nowhere to go with the football, and they get behind the chains. Tennessee's going to get the ball right back, and they're going to give it to the big fella. They see pressure off that right side. You shut off the gap. Derrick Henry does a great job of pressing, cutting back. Game over. Titans win.
No handshake afterwards for John Harbaugh. These teams don't like each other.
It looked like that team wanted it more than us. You know, they was playing physical. When we went up, I feel like, we just took our foot off the gas, but we just got to keep it going. Finish teams.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack coming out of this game. We'll talk about the coaches in just a minute. But, RC, let's just start with the Ravens offense, because this is a game they're supposed to win. They were playing with the lead. This is exactly supposed to be the formula. What happened?
Listen, this Ravens offense is slow. They have the fastest player maybe in football, and everything else moves slow. The motions are slow. The routes develop slow. The misdirection is slow. It's not taking your eyes off of anything. And they're also kind of soft. Like, when's the last time do you remember people calling out the bullies? When's the last time you seen anybody in the NFL walk out to the middle of somebody else's stadium and stomp on their logo, let alone the Baltimore Ravens? You think, and listen, we had bad dudes in Pittsburgh, right? We had dudes that walked to other people's bus to fight their MVPs, to fight their defensive players of the year. But we wasn't walking on Baltimore's logo because we understood if you walked out there, half of each team was going to have to be disqualified because we all were going to fight. Do you know what the Baltimore Ravens did? They sent their 58-year-old coach out there by himself. And here's the other part that I think people are missing. It's not like a really tough defense was the team stumping on the logo. Tennessee ain't tough. Tennessee gets ran through defensively. Tennessee doesn't tackle. But even they feel bold enough. They feel physical enough. They feel strong enough that they can go test the Baltimore Ravens like that before the game and then finish the game with their big-time running back pounding the football into the end zone, or their wide receiver running over 17 players on 2 different plays, and you can only have 11 on the field. This Baltimore team ain't the 2019 Baltimore Ravens. This Baltimore team doesn't walk into stadiums and scare people. And so now they stand in front of the bully, they punch the bully in the mouth, and dare the bully to punch them back. And so far, the bully's been fighting with his hands tied.
You know John Harbaugh well. You were his defensive coordinator in Baltimore. What did you make of that moment and then the entire game yesterday?
Look, first off, I mean, bullies don't like to be bullied. When we went to Baltimore, when John took that team over, we had a thing. We wanted to build the bully. And he prides himself in that, the toughness and all that. That's what John and I, going back to our college days at University of Cincinnati, it was the same thing. And so what you saw here, yes, he takes it personal. You're on that logo, he takes it personal.
Yeah.
Ryan talked about it like, where's the rest of them fighting? I don't know. Would I have been right there with Harbs? Yeah, and it would have taken me and Harbs to whip Vrabel, though I can assure you he's not going to win that one. But this one right here, this is awful right here. Like this, come on, Baltimore, get after it. But the thing I don't like this. Like this isn't Raven football to me, so I have a hard time looking at it. But to me, the biggest difference, and Ryan talked about it, 2019 team, it ain't the same team. Why? Because they don't bully you on offense. When they got a lead, they put you away. They embarrassed you. That's not what we're seeing this year.
Dan, the Titans seem to be a little bit of what the Ravens were last year. At least they were in the playoff game, and they were yesterday.
Yeah, the Titans are exactly who the Ravens think they want to be. This is a team that, this is what I love about the Titans the most. They never allow circumstance to force them to waver from who they are. And that's what the Ravens were last year. The Ravens were unapologetic. They were going to line up, they were going to pound the football and do whatever they wanted. And they were committed to that. That's who the Titans are. They're committed to running the football. And they don't allow the team that they're playing against, the scoreboard, the situation of the game when it comes to the clock, they never allow that to force them to deviate from who they are. They have a very clear identity of who they are and who they're going to be. But let me say this about the Ravens, Greeny, because this is an important point. Number one, they don't have a scheme right now, nor a player that anybody is scared of on their offense. And that includes Lamar Jackson. Right now, there is no fear on their offense that is instilled to a defense. And number two, just keeping it real, Lamar doesn't get to operate in utopia anymore. Last year, Lamar got to operate in a utopia environment. Offensive line was dominant. Scheme was crazy confusing. They did whatever they want. And relatively, things were simple at times, easy. That's not the case anymore. He's got to operate like so many other quarterbacks do in the NFL. That player's down. You got an injury there. You got to elevate your game. Right now, for that offense, it's not happening.
RC, it felt like the Ravens came into this season everybody's pick, and suddenly it feels like you could pick 5 teams in the AFC that you like better than Baltimore at this point. Can they turn it around before the end of the year?
You know what? I don't know. And actually, I don't think so. I don't think they can change. I believe they are who they are. And if they aren't going to step up and be different physically, have a different mindset, then this is a team that can change. And since they can't change, since they can adapt, they're not a good football team, and we're going to watch them struggle down the stretch and maybe not even make the playoffs.
Okay, let's get to our next game here because there was so much good football yesterday. Late afternoon window, we had the Packers and the Colts in Indianapolis, and that's a lot of quarterbacks. Phillip Rivers and Aaron Rodgers ready to go. Pick it up with the Colts down 11, 2 minutes to go in the third. Dan, Phillip Rivers was terrific yesterday.
Greedy, this play's all about timing. It's an awesome job by Doyle sitting in that zone, getting his head around, and Phillip Rivers throwing it on his left shoulder. Touchdown, Colts.
They would go a 2-point conversion, they'd get it, so it's 28-25. Rivers had to leave the field during a Colts drive because he had discomfort in the toe. They would kick a field goal to tie it. Then the ensuing kickoff, Darius Shepard, ball just comes out. Colts recover. They're deep in territory, and Phillip Rivers, he's in the blue tent. And someone's yelling, hey, Phillip, we need you out here. We got the football back there. We kick another field goal. They're up 31-28. Aaron Rodgers gets it back. Dan, here's a 4th down play. This could have been the ball game.
Greeny, this is teach tape by this linebacker, O'Creaky, though. Like, he does an awesome job of stepping up to that back, sitting inside his hip, and forcing an attempted perfect throw. Doesn't happen for Green Bay.
Ensuing Colts drive. This is the play that should have ended the game. Frank Reich goes for it on a 4th and 4, and they get it on the slant. Packers still have 3 timeouts, and then the holding penalties, Dan, just in bunches.
I have no idea how these referees were throwing all these flags. At some point, I was like, okay, who's the flag on? Where's it going to be? This is a legit call. You can see Zadarius Smith reaching that shoulder out, gets tugged. It set the Colts up for such an impossible situation.
The Colts had 4 holding penalties in the last minute of that drive. The Packers saved time and timeouts. Then they almost get the ball back on that play. Rivers, was it a fumble? No, the ball was moving forward, so it's incomplete. So Aaron Rodgers takes over on his own 6, and Dan immediately does this.
What a great design. They put speed. Marquez Valdez-Scantling at number 3, deep ball over the middle. This one I love. They get Devontae Adams crossing in that soft spot of cover 2. They go on this awesome drive to set themselves up in field goal range.
Mason Crosby from 26 yards. Rex, any question he makes it?
No.
And so we go to overtime. We're tied at 31. Rex, what's the one thing you cannot do in overtime?
Turn the ball over, Greeny.
That's exactly right. The Packers get it first, and they commit the cardinal sin. Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Is he not gripping it, Rex? Is he not taking good enough care of the football?
I don't know. I don't like him because if they had a real number 2 receiver, that wouldn't be
him. Hit the ball in your left hand.
We got to drive. I mean, come on, man. Draft the dang guy.
Ball's in the wrong hand. Colts, you think maybe they just kick it immediately with all the holdings. Instead, they run 3 plays, and then Rodrigo Blankenship wins the ball game with that kick. Rodgers throws for 311 and 3 touchdowns, but it's not enough. 34-31 is your final score. What an extraordinary day that was. Dan Orlovsky, number 1 takeaway from what was, in its own way, maybe the best game of the day.
Yeah, games like yesterday are why the Colts made the decision to go get Phillip Rivers. And he struggled that first month of this season. But yesterday, they win the game because of 2 reasons when it comes to Phillip Rivers. His experience and his toughness. We showed the clip of his toughness kind of coming out of that blue tent. But how about some of the throws in the second half? and his relation with Frank Reich and understanding that offense, some of these touch throws, the space where he knows, okay, there's the vacancy of the defense, there's the soft spot, I got to get this ball out of my hands, and he's just throwing it to places where only his receivers are going to be able to go and get them. This is the throws that we saw from Phillip Rivers over the last 10 years, where it comes out of his hand looking a little weird, but only his guy can go make those plays. Yesterday was the perfect example. That's why the Colts went to go get Phillip Rivers, because he was a difference maker for their offense.
He played really well yesterday. RC, if you're on the Packers and you wake up this morning, how are you going to feel looking at the film?
If you're the Packers and you wake up this morning, you're looking at this film and asking Matt LaFleur to stop the film at halftime. Hey, stop it when we were good. Stop it when we were physical. Stop it before we start to get dominated. If you're Jonathan Taylor, you come out in the second half and you think you're back in Madison, Wisconsin. They gave him the ball 6 straight times, and the Green Bay Packers couldn't stop it. And aside from the 2 big plays that you guys mentioned to Valdez-Scantling down the middle, the pass to Devontae Adams to set up the field goal, they couldn't get anything going offensively. That's why Rex is sitting over there pissed off now. That's why it doesn't matter what hand MVS had the ball in, because he said they needed a number 2. And in the second half, they looked like it. But you know what else they needed? They needed a run stopper. You know what else they needed? They needed a physical presence on defense. And we have seen this before from this team when the other team says, you know what, we're going to hand the ball off and dare you to stop us. They ain't stopped nobody yet. And we saw it again yesterday.
Yeah. You were frustrated this morning talking about this team.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it goes back to the draft. You could have used a guy. How would Jefferson look?
Yep.
How would T. Higgins look? Let alone CeeDee Lamb. That could be the difference maker with that type of offense to win games like that. You had another opportunity in the trade deadline. You still